welcome to the first podcast of Chicks. We're currently in the car on our way to Oklahoma City as the legislation for 2015 is opening up at the Capitol. We're attending a rally called WTF, which stands for Where's the Freedom? And we'll be highlighting some of the worst bills proposed in this session. It includes several speakers speaking on each of the top, 12 bad bills. Anyway, I'm Lisa.
Oh, and I'm Joanna, and we're Chicks.
And our first guest is George McFarland.
Hey, George.
Hi, Lisa. Hi, Joanna. Thanks for inviting me.
Welcome to Chicks.
I'm so pleased to be here. I've been so wanting to join you all for one of these podcasts.
So, what are you looking forward to today at this rally?
I'm looking forward to not catching frostbite because it's about 18 degrees outside.
Oh, dear.
And but I brought some warm clothes. I'm looking for ideas from speakers. I know that every session of our legislature, there are two things that every citizen needs to keep in the forefront of their minds. Hang on tightly to your wallet and lock up your daughters when the legislature is in session. I don't know which of the worst bills have bubbled up yet, but there's already some strong competition. Senator Barrington's bill on outlawing the wearing of hoodies is intended to stifle free speech because he doesn't like the fox mask that people wear at some of these liberty-type rallies, so I think he's kind of targeting us. That's one of the real stinkers so far.
Well, do you think it's gonna? Do you think it'll do any good? Do you think we're gonna make a difference in having this rally?
Yes, I think we will. Anytime a group of freedom-minded individuals can get together and support each other and listen to new ideas and evolving ideas on the liberty movement is a good day.
Yeah. Of all the bills, I'm not really sure what all the different bills are, but I do know that there is quite a broad spectrum of views that are going to be represented. People who I guess we would typically label as left or right will be here today, so it'll be nice to see that we do have common ground all across the political spectrum when it comes to our liberties. So to me that's good news, because I personally hate the divisiveness and the phony divisiveness between the right and the left, and so this will just cut to the core and we can talk about bills that are threatening our freedoms.
That's excellently said, Joanna, because left, right, middle, libertarian, green organizations have some common themes that we believe in, like most of those organizations are against the NSA's total surveillance state that appears to have evolved secretly without very much judicial oversight and no admitted congressional oversight, as well as the reform of sentencing and criminal statutes for victimless crimes like smoking marijuana. So it's those and other points of common interest between the broad political spectrum, I think, is the beginnings of a very strong political movement.
Yeah, like a coalition.
Yeah, coalition, probably better said, because there's more things they disagree on collectively than they agree, but there's certainly a number of areas like the NSA total surveillance state, militarization of the police, and reform of the criminalization of the use of cannabis, for instance. I think most of them agree that there's a lot of reforms that need to take place in those laws.
You know, this rally was put together by the Oklahoma Libertarian Party, that they're actually getting a lot of flack for having all these people who are so-called non-libertarian?
Really?
Okay.
Oh, I think it's like, well, if you're a libertarian, why would you associate with somebody who's maybe a socialist or a liberal or whatever? But, I mean, I understand that. I don't necessarily like associating or tying my name to people who I don't share pretty close to the same philosophy with. But in this case, we're not really tying ourselves, we're not binding ourselves to each other. We're just coming together to highlight some bills. There is a lot of common ground, and I'm sure we'll walk away as friends. And that's one thing about it. When you remove the labels and you just start talking to people, you pretty much find out that we all have relatively the same goal, most people, which is freedom. A lot of people have their own ideas for how to get there, and some people don't want to get all the way there. But, as human beings, we can still share ideas and become friends and build relationships and coalitions with one another, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. I know sometimes it's just hard to maybe stand in the same room with somebody who you're opposed to on so many other issues, but you just got to get over that.
And they're talking about freedom is the goal. And we mentioned earlier about how that can be obtained through the political process.
The way that the U.S. electoral system is organized, legislated, the two-party system has a built-in advantage. So when the libertarian organizations have tried to change attitudes and influence on issues by going through the party mechanism, they have a built-in disadvantage. And in no state more than Oklahoma that there has been a very, very hard scene in trying to run as a third party for any office in Oklahoma because of the history of the Oklahoma legislation disadvantaging third parties. It goes all the way back to 1968 and George Wallace's run for president. The powers that be in the state did not want George Wallace to carry Oklahoma, so they passed legislation to make his American Independent Party have to go to court to try and get on the ballot. And those laws are still on the books. Of course, we have nothing to do with the American Independent Party, and George Wallace is long gone, but that was the beginnings of legislatively and legally disadvantaging third parties. So I think the biggest opportunities are in influencing people's beliefs, and that is where those people that have libertarian underpinnings can influence on issues and bring the liberty-loving philosophy of the Libertarian Party, the libertarian belief in influencing people.
So you think it's just a good platform to reach out to other people, or do you think there's to actually influence legislation?
I don't know how many libertarian office holders there are across America. There probably are some, but in most states, there's a built-in disadvantage against third parties running. That Oklahoma's not alone, but we're about another negative superlative Oklahoma has is disadvantaging third parties that want to try and get on the ballot. It's just about impossible. They have to gather hundreds of thousands of signatures in a narrow time window and then have those validated by the state secretary of state and go through all that time and expense to try and get on the ballot as a party. So that can still occur, so that acting in the political sphere, both as a party and then as a philosophy and a movement, I think is sort of touching all the right bases.
I think it can be useful. I think that, to each his own, and if people really love working the party structure and with the legislature and all that, if that's what they like to do, then more power to them. But personally, I don't believe that it's by any means the only tool. I think it is a tool, and, I'll use it to the extent that I want to, but it's not the only tool in my tool chest, and my goal is freedom for myself, and then I hope others would share that goal, and especially my family, and beyond my family, it'd be nice if other people embrace that idea, especially my friends, which they do, and then beyond that, if the whole culture would embrace freedom, that would be really nice, but really I can only make decisions for myself, and so my goal is freedom, and so what do I need to do to achieve freedom? I guess I need to just achieve freedom, live free. So, it's just a matter of finding little ways that I can chip away at the state in my own life, and it's fun. It's like a game to find an area of your life where the state has some power, and then figure a way around that. And it's I love talking with other people about ideas that they've had for doing that, and getting, maybe some things I can do, and maybe some things I'm scared to do or don't want to do. But for me, that is how I can actually realize the change that I want to see right now, and not wait until and hope that my grandkids might have freedom by me working the party or taking over the party or getting the right people elected or making those phone calls. I'm not saying those things are bad or a waste of time, but I'm not putting all my eggs in that basket. Eggs. How are your eggs? How's your egg production there on the ranch?
Actually, the egg production has increased recently in the last 2 weeks, where I was averaging maybe 2 to 2.5 eggs a day. I'm now getting 3 to 3.5 eggs a day.
That's cool.
And I can see that going up to 4 eggs a day pretty soon. So I have a couple of dozen of eggs already.
That's
stocked up.
Great.
So, yeah.
We're out of eggs right now. We're getting about 2 a day or 1 a day. And that's not enough. We need more. I'm thinking about getting a new baby.
Wouldn't that be breaking the laws there?
Well, I don't think they know my address right now, so just one little baby.
Rebel.
SWAT team arriving at Joanna's in 5, 4, 3, 2.
She's got one too many chickens in the yard.
If they want to show up, I'll hand them the one that's the problem chicken. I'll say, here, you take care of it then. No.
Well, yes, that's what the flashbang grenades are for.
Maybe they'll let me borrow one.
Yeah.
But, we do have a chicken I'm concerned about that might be at her end as far as laying, and
Really?
it's kind of sad, but
What are you going to do?
I haven't really found out the answer to that yet. I'm not going to do anything rash or violent, though. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking, just getting another baby and just seeing how long I can, live that way. With one, it's not that many, not that much more of an impact on our feed requirements to just have one chick, one extra chick. So
Now, how old is this chicken?
I think she's about 2. She's not very old, and I know she's probably got some time. So I'm just going to wait and see through the spring and summer how it goes.
Maybe things will pick up when the weather changes.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
When the spring kicks in and the worms and bugs are more readily available, I'm hoping that'll trigger some things. So.
Look at different diet.
But this is my first little go at this. We've only had chickens for 2 years, and so I don't have a whole lot of experience. I'm learning.
We're entering the city. Probably a good time to end our little podcast, I think.
Well, you guys,
To the land of Oz we go.
check out our little Facebook page called Philosoph Chicks, where you'll find lots of really smart chickens.
Thanks for joining us, George. Not like you had a choice. But
Thank you so much for inviting me.
This is
like
what we call a
eggs.
captive audience.
Captive, literally. All right, till next time. We don't know when that will be. Live
Aloha.
free.